They are angry about what happened in Indy. Bryce Young told me that this team is player-led, jaw locked. We all know that we failed last year. Now, let that sink in. You're, half a quarter away from winning another national championship, and your star quarterback is talking about it, you were a failure. This team is player-led. Will Anderson reiterated, we didn't need any motivation from the coaching staff. This is all done by us, player accountability. This is an angry football team, which is scary. That's the expectation. It really is to finish what they didn't do last year.
It's interesting because I've always believed that Nick Saban wants to lose a game every now and then. I think you go back and look at all of his national championships, maybe I think one undefeated season, maybe two. And so he likes to have a loss in there somewhere to remind them of vulnerability and to motivate them and to remind them, you've been told you're the greatest of all time your whole life. Quick reminder, you can be beaten. Now he's got a couple of those losses, and now he had the loss that he didn't want, which is in the national championship game. And he certainly didn't want to lose to an assistant coach, and I did it twice, in 1 year. So I think everyone should be terrified.
The standard is the standard for Alabama. The expectation is you're in the SEC championship game with just one loss at most, playing for a spot in the playoff. I expect Alabama to be in the playoff. I expect Alabama probably to be in the national championship game.
I think it may end up being right in line with that 2020 team, one of, if not the best teams Nick Saban's ever had.
Obviously, they're going to start number one. I think they'll be in the playoff. I think they've got a heck of a chance to win the national championship because last year was supposed to be a gap year.
This is the part that I don't think people get about last year with Alabama. Everybody's like, oh, Kirby got him. Kirby, this is the changing of the guard. No, last year was a rebuilding year at Alabama, and they still almost won the national championship. This is the year they're supposed to win it. Alabama has the best offensive player in the country in the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young.
I don't even think the offense has to be what it was last year. I don't think Bryce Young has to run around with his hair on fire this year. I think he'll be better protected with a better offensive line and new offensive line coach. Jahmyr Gibbs will take a lot off his plate as a really, really talented runner.
They're going to punish opponents between the tackles and extend the field with Bryce Young at quarterback and the load of receivers they've got still on campus.
I think they have a lot of young wide receiver talent whose names the country may not know in July or August, but I think November and December there will be some new household names.
I think Alabama's going to look a little bit different than what we've seen the last few years. It's not going to be like 2020 high wattage offense, for instance, but I do think the result will be the same, and we'll be talking about them first weekend of January like usual.
I can't remember the last team I said this about. It has the best offensive player and the best defensive player going into the season.
We all know what Will Anderson can do. We all know what Dallas Turner can do. But others around them are being, I think, shortchanged a little bit. That Alabama defense is going to rival, as far as potency, that really otherworldly Alabama offense.
Will Anderson was fascinating to me. He knows about Derek Thomas because I think that's the comp. He's very aware of his place in history. He's one of those unique guys, I think, that, stay with me here, doesn't have to play, if you know what I mean. It's his third year. He can get injured. He can hurt his draft status. But he addressed that directly when I asked him. He said he's full go, 100%.
Will Anderson and Dallas Turner give Alabama a very unique opportunity. They've had elite defensive linemen, but a lot of them have been bigger bodies and they've been on the interior of the defensive line. These two edge rushers, they just give Alabama an opportunity to play whatever they want in coverage, and they allow Alabama to devote more resources to coverage. You don't have to blitz. You don't have to bring more bodies because Dallas and Will be just fine with one-on-ones with offensive linemen. And I think the fact that Will has Dallas and Dallas has Will, you can't double team both of them. You can't slide the protection one way because that means the other one's just going to be singled up.
This is going to potentially be the greatest college football team of all time. And in my mind, the 2020 Alabama Crimson Tide is the best team. This one's going to rival it. Alabama's going to crush everybody on its schedule in the SEC this season.
This team is loaded. And I think Alabama gets to, for Saban, I think, in some way, shape, or form, get back to the way that I think Saban would rather play the game, which is something of a defensive first outfit. Now, you can't go all the way back to 2012, that first kind of era of Nick Saban at Alabama before he really kind of leaned hard into the offense. But I think this defense is going to be the best one he's had kind of since that kind of 2013 offensive infusion.
Nick Saban is the most adaptable leader I think we've seen in recent memory. Go business, go politics, go whatever you want to look. And things change. No one adapts quicker and more effectively than Nick Saban.
Saban has screwed up all of our expectations of what is normal and what should happen. But the fact that he lost to Kirby Smart, who had last year the most talented roster in America, I don't think that says too much about where Saban's at. I don't think it says that he's fallen off at all, because he can come back with this roster, which is the most talented roster in America this year, and beat everybody.